Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Trading the Markets with Chris Bullock, aka Blasto Plas. We have a great show in store for you today, so make sure you tune into the charts, take notes, and see how you're going to play this market right now. But before we get into that, if you're not already an RV Connect member, we have a great opportunity for you to become one. We are currently running our Ready, Set, Connect 2-week series that is designed for this moment that we're in right now. It offers you real world tactics at the intersection of AI, crypto, and macro to help you really discover or uncover a new trading edge. And you can join just by clicking the banner below and get up to 50% off. And you can also tune into Jamie Coots's conversation tomorrow with Pondering Durian from Delphi Digital. And Rao's doing an AMA on Friday as well for the Connect members. And you can also tune into all the other great content we've had throughout the last couple of weeks for Connect. So make sure you do that. You can get up to 50% off. Just click the banner below, scan the QR code, join us in Connect. And you'll get access also to Joe Bland's portfolio, which is, just doing such great multiples right now. And Kris is entry-level crypto portfolio as well. So you don't have to trade the markets. You don't have to worry about all of that. You can go touch grass, let Kris do the work for you here. His portfolio is up over 100% since inception. So I don't think you'll have too much to worry about there. Kris, how are you doing? Happy Wednesday.
Doing well, thank you. In fact, I was going to say, if you're new to crypto, please don't try to go trade the markets. Actually, just follow the portfolio, sit back, relax, and let us do the work for you. It's so much easier, and you'll make so much more money than you will flushing it down the toilet trying to trade with no experience. It's really just that simple. So do that.
Well said. And honestly, and if you do, or if you're one of those people that you have that FOMO and you do need to trade, just maybe take a little bit of money to just, play around with it and enjoy, but nothing crazy, right? Just start with a very small amount and see if you can grow it and keep going from there. That's always fun, but definitely the majority of your portfolio, if you want an idea, check out Kris's entry-level crypto portfolio or Joe Bland's portfolio for whatever's your vibe, and you should enjoy some nice returns. So Kris, we've got a great show. I've already got a few questions lined up from the Discord, and I think this one is a great one to start the show with because I think you have a few charts for us to go through that's going to kind of really answer this question. So I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because I know we have a lot of people in the audience that are in a similar situation as Paul. So this question comes from Paul T in the Discord. As someone new to the space and firmly a hodler and not a trader, should we be worried about this dip? Everyone is expecting a rip in Q4 that runs into 2026, but I can't help feeling that if everyone is saying one thing, expect the opposite to happen. But I'm just a newbie who's never experienced the banana zone and looking for some reassurance. Kris, what do the charts have to say to Paul and everyone else who's in Paul's similar situation?
Right. So that's a great question. And it's funny, I get the whole consensus thing where if everybody's saying one thing, it's probably the opposite that's going to happen. But there's a little more nuance to that. You need to kind of apply a little bit more context to that. And ask yourself, what is the reason why everybody is saying this? Is it, because everybody is just, oh, the charts did this same thing three years ago at this time? Or is there more to it? Is there more kind of meat on the bones? Is there macro catalysts that are driving this price action and creating the situation that we're in and the likely outcome that we're, predicting and things like that. So always just kind of ask yourself, where is this consensus coming from? Because it's not always the same every time. And sometimes there's weight to it, and other times it's a coincidence. And so you want to be careful with that. But in the moment, actually, what I want to do to start, and this is a perfect question to start with, is and I know this isn't TA that I'm going to show you here. I'm just really going to show, we're going to start with this one indicator that just is the mega trend indicator. And it's as simple as red equals, bad, green equals good. And I know there's not a lot of in-depth analysis in that, but the point I'm wanting to make with this is just to give you some perspective and look at a lot of these major assets and sort of see what we're looking at here. And so let's start with Bitcoin. And what we're seeing is and again, this is just the weekly megatrend, and it's green. And usually, when the weekly megatrend is green, it's pretty accurate at gauging trend reversals and just general overall strength. And what I want to show you is that it's green pretty much across the board with all the majors right now, and in a lot of instances, even price is in fact above it. And really, Bitcoin is honestly the worst looking of the bunch in the moment, in that it's technically below it. And we'll get into Bitcoin more in a minute with additional deeper analysis. But just looking at Bitcoin here, megatrend green. I'm going to kind of zip through the list of the majors. Ethereum looks fantastic. Not only is the megatrend green, it's ripping to the north. It's way above the megatrend, and it's very green. So Ethereum looks phenomenal, probably the best of anything going on. Solana looks great. Price is well above, the megatrend, green megatrend on the weekly. SWI, not quite as good, but still green megatrend on the weekly. XRP, green megatrend on the weekly. You get what I'm saying here. The point being, generally everything is just in a nice solid weekly uptrend, showing a lot of strength. And this is really just a pullback, a mean reversion, if you will, back to kind of the center. And so nothing really to worry about overall. Now, that said, I do think we've got a little bit of wobble still to come, but I do think that at the moment, the market is a fair bit oversold and we're due a bounce. And so we can get into that in a second, Bijan. But I really, again, just wanted to kind of highlight that across the board, all of the major crypto assets, and particularly alts, I think are outperforming Bitcoin in this moment. And everything is generally in a nice weekly green uptrend. So there's nothing really to worry about. I know it's ugly. It's been ugly for the last few weeks, but honestly, everything's fine. I mean, really? is the short answer to that?
Love to hear that. Yeah, I think Bitcoin dominance, we have been seeing it fall. ETH has been recovering very nicely. And Solana too, for that matter. They just over the weekend, they had a pretty big piece of breaking news for their ecosystem, where they ran a test that had over 100,000 transactions per second. So I think these are all just bullish things happening underlying that maybe not reflected in the price action right now, but we're due.
Yeah. And we can get into that here now if we want. We can look at some kind of zoomed in timeframes and talk about what I'm seeing in terms of things being a little bit oversold and do a bounce, and kind of what I'm seeing play out over the coming days and weeks. And let's start with Bitcoin here for a second. And really what we're seeing, so what I've got now, I've shifted my indicators around. I've got a bunch of moving averages on here now. I like to use like a 10 and a 20, as is common. You've probably seen on a lot of the shows. I talk a lot about how the 10 interacts with the 20, but I went ahead and threw a 50 on here, also this blue line, and then a 200, because I think that's going to kind of come into play in terms of like looking at how the coming weeks play out, I guess. But in the moment, we can see here with Bitcoin specifically, we've had effectively a double bottom retest of this breakout level. Note we had this long line here that was this previous peak, this previous all-time high. We broke out, set an all-time high, came back, retested it, went on, set a higher all-time high, and we've come back down and we've effectively retested this line again. But we're starting to show a lot of bullish divergence flags popping up, indicating that a lot of these assets are oversold in the short term and are likely to a bounce. And kind of what I'm looking at here with Bitcoin. Also, I wanted to, with regards to Bitcoin too, I wanted to highlight this liquidation heat map too. We've kind of exhausted a lot of the liquidity to the downside. We can see here, there's no longer these like intense yellow chunks. Basically, we've basically broken down through all of them and captured all of that. And so really, there's more sort of motivation for the market makers to take it north at this point and likely capture a lot of this around the 119, 120 range. And so I'm kind of looking at that here. And if we go back to the chart, that sort of lines up perfectly with, basically Bitcoin kind of coming back up to whatever, give or take right around here. And then maybe kind of hovering around here for a little bit before ultimately coming back down. And then maybe even we might see it come back down. So if we look at it right here in this range, what we're looking at, we've got multiple levels of confluence here. We've got this big cluster of sideways price action. I kind of talked about this on the Monday show, but there's just a ton of price action trading sideways right here. Likely the bull market support band or the 20-week moving average will kind of have made its way up into this range by this point, and then also like the 200-day moving average will have made its way up into this range by this point as well. So I know that we don't necessarily want to see whatever 105, 107 kind of prices, but this to me is kind of my base case for likely how this will play out. Now, there's a lot of things that could swing this. Obviously, we've got the Jackson Hole meeting coming up. We've got Jerome Powell speaking on Friday. That could change things, maybe, but probably not. I'm starting to think a rate cut is sort of baked in a little bit to the price at this point. But we've got a lot of other things potentially that could influence this. But in the moment, I kind of see this as the most likely scenario. And then I think we just bounce out from here in terms of Bitcoin. And then looking at Ethereum looks a lot better. It's funny, Ethereum really bounced hard to back up to the upside off of its 20-day moving average. It hasn't even come anywhere close to its 50-day, let alone its 200-day or anything. So Ethereum continues to look incredibly strong. It's in a strong uptrend still, and really effectively it just mean reverted here. It didn't even break down or anything. I think that's important to note. Yes, it came way up here. It almost set a new all-time high, and then it's been sort of down only since then. But you have to remember, it was really far deviated from its 20-day moving average. And for it to just come back down to the 20-day moving average and bounce again, that's not a trend reversal. That's not like a bearish development. That's just a mean reversion in an otherwise strong daily uptrend. So Ethereum looks amazing right now. You wouldn't even know we were in a correction at the moment, basically looking at this Ethereum chart. And then Solana too, not quite as good, but still it's plodding along. It did set a little bit higher high here than this previous one. It's setting higher lows, so it's generally grinding upwards. And I think, showing a lot of strength too. And yes, it did come down a little bit below its 20-day moving average, but not much. And it too bounced really strong out of it. And so we're seeing that across the board with just, I think, a lot of alts outperforming Bitcoin in the moment. Bitcoin's only up not even 1% today. And we've got ETH and Solana upwards of 4 and 5%. And so I think good things are happening. I think that it's not time to panic. It's not time to sell. Please don't. I don't think that the top is anywhere close to being in. I think you're going to run the risk of getting left on the sidelines if you try to play this chop right now and sell it. Just kind of ride it out, and we'll be fine. And even going back to Bitcoin, don't worry too much about any kind of a rollover like this. This is still, like, if you look at this longer term trend line that we have, going back to the beginning of the cycle, even with a correction like this, if it does play out, we're still nowhere even really close to this longer term trend line. We're still, well deviated above it. And this is just kind of healthy ebb and flow price action. I get that we all wanted to just rip to the moon, but markets don't work that way. You got to take the bad with the good sometimes. And in the moment, we're in the bad phase, and that's okay, because even in that sense, I don't think it's that bad. So I think we're good.
It's just buying opportunities as I see them.
Exactly. And don't panic like 2 weeks from now when suddenly we're at 105. Please, like, it just know right now, today, I'm telling you this. If we're at 105 in 3 weeks from now, you should have been expecting it. And you should be mentally preparing for that right now today. So, yeah.
Well said. All right, I want to head over and highlight a trade from our hive mind on our trade ideas on our platform. And just a reminder, you can sign up for Connect right now and check out some of these trade ideas. Checks from Jay Swans is up. I mean, look at that, guys. It is up, what is it, 70% already? So Jay Swans input this trade, and here is why I think I'm just going to take some highlights from his little thesis here on checks. Obviously, do your own research, but I mean, proof is right there. He's up 70% already. Checks brings, according to Jay Swans, checks brings real estate, commodities, and other real-world assets on chain. Clintai's AI delivers real-time analytics for data-backed investment decisions, and Checks is multi-chain staking without KYC. That's coming soon, apparently. So that's pretty. I love that. And then they have a bullish target of $10 trillion market cap, or $10 trillion by 2030. So go ahead, check out that trade from Jay Swans on checks. And also check out all the trades on our trading platform. You can search by leaderboard, see who puts in good trades, follow them, put notifications on whenever they input a trade so you don't miss it. And maybe you can get some of these gains, because we've had some real runners in the last couple of months. Checks obviously comes to mind, but SBet was a huge one that people were inputting on the platform. So check those out. And then for me, I just want to mention, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I want to mention rekt coin again. They literally just sold out again in record time with their base collab, their based lime rekt drink collab with base chain. They sold out in, I think it was under 1 minute. So these things are just proof for me. So I think I'm so bullish on rekt coin, so much higher. And then if you have a little spare change after a rekt trade, maybe check out some Pengu as well. Maybe you can try farming on the abstract ecosystem, because there's an interesting drop coming up potentially soon there. So that's where I will throw it for you guys. Now, Kris, I actually want to take this question from Alex on the RV website. A coin that I don't think we've ever talked about, or maybe we have, but not very memorable. But what are your thoughts on Filecoin? Looks like a top decentralized storage project that performed really well in the 2021 cycle. Are all-time highs possible this cycle, or am I being delusional? Many thanks.
Well, let's take a look. I haven't looked at Filecoin in a hot minute, so let me see. Well, boy, my first thought is no, and so so the reason I'm saying that is because, well, one, the all-time high is all the way up here at, what is this, $237. We're now at 242. Well, a couple of things jump out. So first of all, I like to compare things. I like to look at things in terms of like, where is it from the beginning of this current 4-year cycle? And that current 4-year cycle started in January of 2023. So let's mark there and just see where we're at. So in fact, since in this entire 4-year cycle, Filecoin's down actually 20%. Really nothing should be down since the beginning of January 2023 in this 4-year cycle. Like, nothing should be down against USD. I mean, what is even Bitcoin is up like, I mean, what is it, 6x or something, I feel like. So I feel like, given the fact that not only has it not made gains, it hasn't tracked with the rest of the market. It's basically in a long-term downtrend on its USD pair. Yes, it's had a couple of periods of short outperformance. You could argue even in the end of 2023 into the beginning of 2024, it did well for like a quarter maybe, but it just turned around and gave all that back. And then it had a shorter bump and immediately gave it all back. But not only did it give it back, it went on to set lower lows and lower all-time lows. And I don't think anybody really, you don't want to be in anything that is in the negatives in this current 4-year cycle. And so what this tells me is that the market doesn't see this as a good investment. I mean, regardless of what the technology is, regardless of what the potential is, kind of, it doesn't matter if Filecoin ends up taking over the world from a project standpoint. But for whatever reason, the crypto market, the people that invest in crypto, don't see this as a good investment. And so I personally wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole, basically, just by looking at this chart alone. It just doesn't, this tells me that it just doesn't have a bid. People don't want to buy it. And so, yeah. And I'm sure if we looked at the Bitcoin pairing, it would be 10 times worse, which we don't even need to do. I mean, if it's in the negatives against the dollar, it's going to be that much worse against Bitcoin. And so I just don't see any reason why you would want to be in this asset.
Yeah, well said, James. So there's I think some data you can glean from there. Two major things on Filecoin: it's not up against Bitcoin, and it's not up against the dollar. Two major reasons for to answer your question why you might be delusional.
I mean, yeah, it would have to do like 100x basically to get back to its all-time high, and I just don't. Yeah, that's not a thing.
Did you
That's not a
wait?
thing.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that number? Can you repeat that number again?
Like 100x. Like,
Oh my God.
um,
Yeah,
yeah.
James, cut it. If you have Filecoin, get rid of it. Go get some rekt coin. Like I liked for that trade before. All right, let's do one more from Petra here on the RV website. I would like to hear
Yep.
your thoughts on Wormhole's W token.
Um, do we know the symbol for that? I don't know if I know this. Is it just, oh, wormhole, W? Okay.
Yep.
Um, that doesn't look great either. It almost, I don't actually, I'm not super familiar with this token, but just looking at this price action, it looks like something that was maybe a VC token that sort of launched at too high of a valuation. And so the people that, when this launched, there was already people that bought in a pre-sale that were up 10x and sold and have basically just been taking profits all the way down. And so it maybe have bottomed here. This is a decent bullish divergence flag on the weekly time frame, and so this could have been the bottom, and it could be bouncing, but it's far too early to tell. I feel like still it needs to reverse this weekly trend and resume back to the upside. So I wouldn't be buying this right now, but I do like the volume. It's decent volume, so it's got people's attention. But we still need to see a little bit more constructive price action. We need to see additional higher highs set, like looking at this kind of level. Let's see. Let me draw a little line here. But like it's got to get above this line, this 11.7 cents, and kind of flip that to support and continue bouncing. I think if it can do that and start setting higher highs off of this 11.7 level, then maybe that could be a buy. But right now, I wouldn't be in it. And if I was in it, I would have sold it a while ago. But it's a little bit ugly at the moment.
Thank you for the question, Petra. And James, thank you for your earlier question on Filecoin. Actually, let's take this last one from Jorge. This was a coin we had discussed once or twice a while ago. Do you think Casper will pick up the pace again?
That's a tricky one too. Let's take a look at that. That one, it's like it did incredibly well for the first part of this 4-year cycle, and then just hasn't really been able to recover since it peaked. Let's see. Well, okay, it's possibly constructive. It's definitely not like outpacing the rest of the market. It's not even really holding steady. It's a bit underperforming, but there are a few constructive signs that I'm seeing here. We've got a bit of a wedge pattern forming here. Like, let's see, kind of like that, and then kind of like. So it's definitely coiling. I like the fact that the bull market support band, it's at least at the bull market support band, and it has bumped above it a couple of times, and each time it broke back down, it set a higher low, and has come back up and recovered it again. It's kind of holding it as support, so it's really just generally pretty flat for several months now, which isn't awesome, but it does look like it could be bottoming. This is like a pretty solid looking bottoming pattern, and it could potentially break out. So I would be looking for definitely a breakout out of this wedge, a break back out above like this 50-week moving average, and see if it can start doing some higher highs instead of lower highs. And so once we start to see, really that's what we're looking for is a proper trend reversal. So the next what's this high like here, right here? So it needs to break this recent high at 11 cents, 11.8 cents. It needs to flip that and continue breaking north. And so if it can do that, then I would feel better about it. But right now, I don't know that I would buy it right now. I think it's still it'd be too much of a gamble to buy it right now, hoping that it actually does that. I really would want to see it show some strength, like prove that it can actually reverse this trend and start establishing higher highs and start resuming an uptrend. Right now, it's not doing that. And it hasn't been doing that for, again, several months. I mean, going back to the beginning of the year even. So it's iffy right now, but it's starting to look a little bit constructive, I would say.
All right, let's take one last question before we wrap up today's session. I want to take this question from our mod, BDez. Did you guys see meme in a sea of red? It is holding, rooting for them. So why don't we go and check out meme? Because I have been noticing them picking up on the timeline. I've noticed the meme token is up on the day, and it's been getting quite some traction. It's just meme, like
Yeah, yeah.
MEME. Yep.
Yeah, definitely a nice bounce. For sure. What is that? Let's see, 43%. Dang. Okay. Oh, that's on the week, but still, that's a solid week. So, yeah, no, this is good. Certainly, we need this. It had been sort of hovering around the bottom side of the bull market support band, and it broke right through it all the way up to the top side of it. Definitely very constructive price action. Almost set a higher high. Like here was the last previous high that it, excuse me, that it had set at 32.68. We're at 28.19 right now. So it's inching up there. It's still not like a proper reversal. I do like this also 5 bullish divergences on the weekly time frame at this low. So it was definitely obviously very oversold. I mean, we can tell that just by looking at the chart. It was clearly oversold. But I do like the fact that it's starting to build some momentum back to the upside now. And ever since this 5 flag, it has started to put in, higher highs and higher lows. So it's still got a ways to go before it eclipses this level, but it's on the right track. I do like the volume picking up too. So whatever they did, clearly it generated some buzz, and there's people looking at this, and it's catching a bid right now. So what we don't want to see is that it just does another thing like this where it kind of breaks out, starts to break above the trend, and then breaks down and goes on to set a lower low. So we need I guess a little more meat on the bones, as they say, before I would want to dive back into this. But if you're holding this is certainly constructive. Like I would feel good about this price action that I'm seeing. So yeah, I think though, if it does it gets rejected off of here and goes on to set a lower low, that's when maybe you want to ask yourself if that's something you want to keep holding, because that wouldn't be a good look at all. So kind of be paying close attention to this 32.68 level, I think.
All right. Thank you for the question, B Des. Kris, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. But we do have the Jackson Hole meeting on Friday. We have, started with red candles, kind of throughout this week so far. What are you looking for going into the weekend? What's on your mind?
I mean, like I said, I do think we are due a bit of a bounce, a reflexive bounce, if anything. Like we are oversold generally across the board. We are seeing a lot of bullish divergences happening, and I think just the momentum, just the ebb and flow of charts, is going to likely swing us back to the upside in the short term. That's what I'm seeing really with most of the assets. So that's my general base case, and then we'll see what happens from the meeting. If that even changes anything, it may not. And we'll go from there. I still think that I'm still a little bit bearish on September, but in the short term, I think we're oversold.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. That's going to do it for this session of Trading the Markets. We'll be back on Monday, of course, in live in Discord and live on the platform for Connect members on our live TA show. So just a reminder, if you're not a Connect member already, you can join by clicking below and scanning the QR code. You can get up to 50% off on Connect right now. So make sure you join. Lots of great information, content, alpha going on in the Connect tier. So be sure to join us, and then come and tune in on Monday and ask your questions for us live. We go for over an hour most of the time, just diving into hundreds of coins throughout the whole process of our show. So not in one show. I don't think we can take that many coins, but we definitely have covered quite a bit of coins on that show. So make sure you tune in on Monday. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend, everyone. And remember, in this time, more than ever, don't fuck this up.